football fans.
This is Tom Brady, and I'm back on Sirius XM for another season of Let's Go with Jim Gray and Larry Fitzgerald.
Let's go, baby.
I'm kicking off the next chapter of my career and talking with some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment.
Charles Barkley. I wish I could say positive things about everybody all the time, but if you play bad, I can't get on TV and tell people you play good.
Catch Let's Go Mondays at 6 Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, and exclusively on the SXM app.
What are you listening to in the morning? Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly and activate your radio. Imagine waking up to the biggest names in morning entertainment: Howard Stern, Today Show Radio, news from CNN, Fox News, Bloomberg, NPR, or sports talk on NFL, MLB, NASCAR Radio, and more. Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now. Activate your radio and begin exploring more than 140 channels.
SiriusXM Business Radio. Your business, your money, your life.
Marketing, expanding, and branding.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
Your business, your money, your life.
Entrepreneurs, CEOs, and investors.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
To hear Business Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
You deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
5 albums.
What a man gotta do.
One night.
Oh, it's on.
The Jonas Brothers.
I'm Joe. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Nick. Captured live at Yankee Stadium with another SiriusXM exclusive from their sold-out concert.
Hear it now for a limited time on the SXM app. Included in all trials and popular plans. Search Jonas.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I think so.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take Howard Stern, NFL Radio, and commercial-free music channels from nearly every genre. You never have to miss your favorite SiriusXM programs or commercial-free music. Find the SiriusXM app in the App Store or call 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/app to find out more.
This is where former latchkey kids come to get their 90s grunge kicks. Unlocking a decade's worth of commercial-free alternative rock. SiriusXM Lithium. To listen to Lithium, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
It's time to let the beat drop again. As Beastie Boys Channel returns to SiriusXM, all the legendary rhymes and body-moving beats. with insight from Mike D and Ad Rock, plus special guest hosts.
I'm Chucky of Public Enemy. Merrick Andre, Beastie Boys channel.
For a limited time, starting tomorrow on Channel 105 and on the SXM app.
When you're a SiriusXM subscriber, you've got access to commercial-free music, channels from almost every genre, and channels created in conjunction with the biggest names in music. Eminem's Shade 45, Pearl Jam Radio, Bruce Springsteen's E Street Radio, and more. Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now. Activate your radio and start listening now.
SiriusXM Triumph, your home for truth, hope, and real answers. Hear Dr. Laura on Triumph.
No nonsense advice about relationships, marriage, kids.
Tough love.
It happened is not a phrase anybody uses when they take responsibility.
Inspiration.
Every time you want to go to bed with a negative thought, you have to match it up with a positive one. That's your new rule.
Plus, Dave Ramsey, Glenn Beck, and Nancy Grace. To hear Dr. Laura on Triumph, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vici, let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe with 28 podcast applications on a beautiful September the 6th in 2023. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also find us on, I'm not telling you, Good Pods Podcast, Amazon Podcast, YouTube, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Geosavan Podcast out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. I love the way we're going around the world. You can find us on Stitcher Podcast Radio Line, Beepod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Promo Podcast, Podcast Odyssey, Podcast Republic, and the only one that used to scare me but now it doesn't is allfeeds.ai. Give that some praise because the road record trying to take over. You can also follow BC Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms all over the universe. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. My show is a little bit different today. I have a special guest coming on in just a moment, but Big C Sports, as you know, I produce the show, I direct the topics, I broadcast all the shows, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We can all use more laughter in our lives. Commercials are done. The stats provided. The storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep, if that makes sense to you. And then the show's uploaded to 28 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City, and I'm in Dimdale Hills, California. Give that some praise. But without further ado, as you know, I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. You know, anybody going through issues, 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. If that's not enough, give that some praise. All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 28 podcast applications all over the universe, and also streaming on 4 TV platforms. Really do appreciate our special guest today by the name, I call him Brother Ali, the SOUSA Esquire, just a gentleman that he says he's lived seven full score. I don't know, he sounds like he's 21, but his brilliance sounds like he's 121, and I want to just talk to him about some things that are what I learned today about 11 dimensions. And we talk about sports and athletics and how to get the human achievement to be higher than what we know how to do it. The firstborn is son of one of the revolutionary founders of PAIGC that gave birth to the African nations of Cabo Verde. And ironically, I had, for the Olympics, I had Anthony, I'm telling you, there's a guy that teaches the wrestling in the Olympics, and his name is August Wesley. He has a son named Anthony Wesley who's training for the Olympics as we speak. So no matter what that means to a lot of people, when I think about individuals who have a lot of information and a lot of inspiration, the SOUSA's approach is an intersection of you of recognizing the sometimes subtle and other times overt systemic oppression and how we overcome it. So I can talk about 5 years and not even getting all of his acclaim. I want to just ask him if you could say hi to our audience and tell us how you're feeling today, sir.
I'm feeling wonderful. Thank you for having me on the air. I was surprised to get this interview. I feel very humbled and honored that you invited me to share with your audience and yourself, and I'm looking forward to the time that we spend together.
Yes, well, I'm looking forward to it also. Of course, brother Aleem Shabazz is someone that I've met just this year, and in speaking with him, not only have I had the pleasure of meeting you, but many other wonderful people that I've met because of him. I want to ask you in a moment, we talk so much about the world of sports, and I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. Been doing it now going on 8 years almost. But then there's also something that you and I have talked about the 11 dimensions. I never heard of that before. And if you could expand what that means and how athletes and even people in business can benefit from that. Go right ahead, please.
Well, it's interesting. If you want to have background in quantum physics, or even basic quantum physics, you get to learn about what different dimensions in the multiverse, and some people linguistically may explain it differently.
Yes.
But scientists now have proven, and then you can go on, just search on the web, and you'll find about the 11 dimensions that they have quantified now that exist within the measurable what we know of the universes, I would say, or the multiverse.
Yes.
And because there's so much more to our humanity, and the subliminal parts of us are often ignored for the gross part, the human body and the emotions. But there is so much more to us. We know that, and most people understand that, but ignore it. And
yes.
That's the difference between those who achieve at a high level sometimes and those who don't.
When we talk about that, we look at athletics, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, boxing, especially track and field. When we look at the human experience, a person that comes in, say, the 100-meter dash, first place to 10th place, it's not always about ability. Is it about how you think on a metaphysical level, if that makes sense?
It makes perfect sense. Athletes, we heard a lot of people talk about in the 70s, 80s, the zone.
Yeah.
So the zone is just a contemporary term for the sublime, right?
Yes.
And when we look at particular athletes, if we say contemporary, the Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and Serena Williams,
yes.
These athletes, when you talk with them and if you watch them, Tom Brady, these different athletes, you can see they transcend what they're doing.
Yes.
Everything is in slow motion to do that. And this way, in the quantum nature, these people are now working from their spirit or even maybe their soul body. So everything is flow to them. And it's a simple process to go do what they do.
Yes.
And once one member of humanity understands that, the others subliminally or subconsciously know this. Let me give you an example of that.
Yes.
If you look back to when Jim Ryan broke the 4-minute mile.
Yes.
Right after that, and I can't think of the athlete's name, there was a Russian gentleman, but many people now broke the 4-minute mile because
Alvin Bannister.
Understood. Yeah, there you go. He understood that people could break the 4-minute mile.
Yes.
And when you look at Tiger Woods came on the golf scene, there are a couple of things to understand too. That repetition is the immutable law of the universe. Tiger Woods began playing golf at 2.
Wow.
So by the time he turned pro, he was a 20-year golfer, so he had that experience of repetition, all the frequency, energy, and vibration of someone who's done that.
Yes.
That was then combined with an athletic prowess that was superior to most people in his sport. He could have played any sport. He had that perfect size from what my father said, that 5'10" to 6'1", 180 to 210, where you just can play any sport. You have the strength, the power, the speed, the agility, the flexibility.
Yes.
So he had that, but he had beyond that because his father saw something. He trained him in the Buddhist tradition, which really does focus on frequency and vibration.
Wow.
And so he was able to, at will, turn it on. When he had to do it, he constantly did it over and over and over and over again, like many other athletes, because that zone or that quantum level of being, he was able to achieve it when he exercised and golf. But as you were saying earlier, what I would like people to understand, and particularly people of the Melanite traditions around the world and here in this country especially, that we built great civilizations worldwide with those powers.
Wow.
Why do I say that? You look at the pyramids. We put all kinds of basically nonsense about how the pyramids were built.
Exactly.
They used ramp. They did this. Anyone in their right mind knows you didn't build those pyramids or any of these colossal structures by using ramps. Number one, there's no evidence of any tools or ramps.
That's right.
So you would think some fossilized ramps would have been found.
That's true.
Also, when you do the math on it, it would take longer to build the ramps than to build the pyramid itself.
Wow.
And then the length of the ramp would have to be so long, it would be thousands of miles long. You're telling slaves push those stones up those ramp? And what about the capstone? If all these ridiculous fables have been put forth about different things that cannot be explained by really half-baked scholars who claim to be scholarly because they may have the letters after their name that have been awarded by some institution that crowned itself with the deciders of what is of the knowledge, right?
That makes sense.
The truth is we can find these colossal pyramids all over this planet.
Yeah.
You know, South America, North America, even Antarctica.
Yes.
At one time in the human experience, we constantly used our quantum abilities. We worked in the higher dimensions, and we were able to harness and do that in union to do amazing, amazing things. And the only remnant of that we have left is sort of team sport.
Yes.
But now, and so that's been lost, but it's being rediscovered. And there's a lot of research people can do about quantum reality and quantum physics and the 11th dimension. I suggest they go look because I would want to smother the conversation with trying to explain esoteric things in detail in the time that we have.
Yes.
But I do want the young people to know I'm a father of 6, a grandfather of, I think, 4 or 5 now, and a great-grandfather of 2.
Wow.
And what I see in these children, I give an example. My granddaughter, Amina Rose, who just turned 3 about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago.
Yes.
Amina Rose has been calling me on a cell phone since she was 3 months.
Wow.
3 months old. Why? Not because she knows my vibration.
Yes.
When she was born, I wasn't able to be at the birth, but my daughter agreed that she would call me immediately. So in the birthing room, she called me immediately, and the phone was put to Amina's ear.
Yes.
And I recited certain prayers for her, called her by her name, and sung to her.
That's amazing.
So to establish that bond, because the voice, the word, if you look at different spiritual traditions, even the Christian tradition, it says the word was with God, and God is the word. Because the power of the word doesn't make sound, vibration, which is a component of light. It has an immense capability.
Right? Let me ask you this question too, because again, this is Big C Sports. Charlton Curry talking to Ali de Sousa. I'm telling you, there's some things that you said that make so much sense. Like, how were the pyramids built? Some people want to take away from the human thought, and they want to say maybe aliens did it, or they don't know how. At the same time, if you look at sporting events today and the Olympics where the world competes, you notice how they don't do the Olympics in front of 2,000 people. They build these 50, 60, 70, 80,000 seat arenas because the chanting of 80,000 people, it does something to the human psyche. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because we are not independent beings. We are interdependent beings, whether we like it or not. I'm glad you gave that wonderful example of how they do that in sports with the Olympics, with all the human energy. And then some athletes are better at harnessing the energy.
Yes.
They're better conduits for pulling in the energy from all those people present. And, it's just amazing. Another thing that I try to come up with a word for it, but I haven't.
Yes.
I get inspired now because I'm still very active. I'm still doing film. I'm doing my art. Many, many things. I won't stop until I transition to the greater reality.
Right.
So my inspiration comes through, and I have a knack of finding these these talent shows, these voice shows, particularly The Voice, ADT, BDT,
Yep.
all those shows. And then there'll always be someone who comes on, and I really go into explosive tears from their performance. Often they're singers, but sometimes they're dancers and other things. But it's amazing where people can take things. A young boy was singing, I can't think of his name now,
Yes.
in London. Everybody thought he must have been an angel. His voice almost looked like he wasn't singing,
Yes.
because he was projecting a voice outside of himself. Someone did some research on it. He was actually singing at what they call the 939, or the angelic frequency.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, Ali, I just want to interject something that when you said about the different frequencies. If you recall, when Muhammad Ali, which was my favorite fighter, a lot of people can say that. I remember when he was going to fight George Foreman. I was actually at the training camp in Hayward when George Foreman was doing his tour, and I didn't want Ali to fight him because he just knocked out Joe Frazier. He knocked him down 6 times before he knocked him out. I didn't want to see Ali fight him, but Ali did something that maybe shocked the world. And when they were fighting, he was chanting. He had the crowd chanting Ali Boombaye, Ali Boombaye. And it's that frequency, that chanting, that actually does something to elevate blood pressure. It elevates your intuition and also your vibration. Can you talk about why the chanting is so important? A lot of athletes do it before they play a game.
Yes, it is. And a lot of spiritual traditions have that too. They call them mantras or prayer or dhikr or different things. But first, it's the universal law of repetition.
Yes.
When the universe, everything builds by laws of repetition. You repeat it, you repeat it. Or you practice, you practice, you practice. So ultimately, you reach that perfection in a given moment over the course of a given amount of measured time, if you will.
Yes.
So then it's sound. People underestimate sound, and I don't understand why.
Yes.
They love music, and they use it to dance and to enjoy, but there's been so much study on music, what different sounds do. And it's also used for the destruction of our society as well.
Yes.
Because those notes, those vibrations stimulate the chakra system, which is subliminal bonds that has been around and noticed for over 5,000 years, and that's considerably a modern time.
Yes.
But the people of East Asia, that they say now, but used to all be called the Sea, including what is called Africa today.
Yes.
They documented well the chakra systems and the subdoshas and everything. But the base chakra, at the base of your body, which coincides with your sexual organs and everything, your base bones, work off a bass sound. And the modern music has so much heavy bass, right?
Yes.
That it's constantly overstimulating that chakra. So the imbalance that comes from that reflected in society of human behavior.
Wow.
And the sounds that actually stimulate the highest chakra, particularly the heart chakra, and also the crown chakra, and also the third eye, the pineal gland, which is real, are not duplicated en masse within society.
Right. That's powerful.
And so therefore human beings are smothered. They're not reaching their true potential. When I was asked maybe 6 months ago by someone who knows me well, and elder to me by about 6 years, who's known me for over a decade, has watched me work through my art and different things, and we have coffee quite often, but he came by my studio where I was working, and this time he pulled up a chair next to me, and he looked at me, and he shocked me with a question. And the question to me was, Ali, what are you?
Wow.
Now imagine knowing someone for 15 years and they say, Ali, what are you?
Yes.
And interesting enough, I just turned to him and I said, I'm a quantum being.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing.
And then it came out like intuitively, no thoughts about really why I said that. And if you go to my website, the SOUSAexperience.com, I have something called the Décès de Response, which is like your masterpiece, your magnum opus.
Yes.
And my Décès de Response, it's a self-portrait. It says I am a quantum being. But when you look at it, it doesn't look anything like my physiology.
That is absolutely amazing. We're talking to Ali de Souza, just a beautiful Esquire, talks about the chanting, talks about how we are vibrational creatures. Oftentimes, we look at the physical. As an athlete, people want us to get bigger, stronger, faster, lift more weights, run more wind sprints. That's part of being in good shape. At the same time, you touched on something that I want to ask you about, because I really do think it can make a difference in not only the lives of young people, but older people as well, people who actually live longer. They're not just sitting down reading a newspaper. They're actually doing exercises with their body. And to touch on that, you had something that you spoke about calling it grand rising. You stated that the grand rising is the ultimate solution for healing, whether it's colonized people or even someone who's going through their own mental, you can call it mental state awareness, and how they can improve things. Talk about grand rising. What does that mean to you?
Oh, yeah, the grand rising is something that I experienced myself, and the terminology came to me through meditation.
Yes.
And I was looking what was happening in the world and saying, how can there be a balance?
Yes.
But to understand that, I have to talk about balance a little bit more, if I may, and then I'll move into what you just asked.
Please do.
Okay, so when I do my art talks at an art show, often the artist is asked to speak, and a big part of my work is, I call it my divine feminine creation, and people want to know why.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to like the human beings as a physical, creative thing. In order for our species to continue, you need a man and a woman.
Yes.
Is correct?
Yes.
Yeah. No, we know that's a genetic expression, a biological form, and that form genetically is expressed algebraically as XX for the woman,
yes,
and XY for the man.
Yes.
Okay? And the X represents the creative force. So the balance for our species to exist and to grow is XXXY.
Yes.
That's a 3-to-1 ratio. A 3-to-1 ratio. It's not about equality, it's about balance. The whole body seeks homostasis. That's what we're looking for.
Yes.
And so when we have gone through time and dishonored the woman over the past millennia with massaging all kinds of horrendous things that still take place today, we have been causing the Mother Earth itself and the planet to implode on itself.
Yes.
And we're experiencing that. So one thing I taught my own sons, 3 of them, that it's important how we treat women.
Yes.
I might say I was always the best of person, and some say I learned these things, but I was instilled upon me as a young man from my auntie about the importance of uplifting people as a whole.
Yes.
But I realized that we really, as men, also, and young men, I'm speaking to you out there, we need to uplift women.
I love the fact, yes, go right ahead, please.
Because what we were taught through television programming, and it's associated with sports, you know, the women are to be used. We got the cheerleaders bouncing their bodies around.
Right.
And all these different things. And we're indoctrinated as we play sports as young men. I played ball, I led it in school. And you're indoctrinated to try to look at women not as human souls, but as something for your use.
I think that's very powerful.
That's permeating society. This must end. That's my crusade. Number one.
I love that.
I have 3 daughters.
Yes.
And so, and men, when we do our part in that, and understand that we are a combination of the divine feminine and divine masculine with the X and the Y.
Yes.
And that's what creates the balance. You know, that's what creates what they call equality. No, it's a balance. But that is the first step of being whole as a species, as a planet.
Yes.
And then within ourselves, to take the journey and challenge ourselves on how we process our experience. We've all gone through things that we process in a way that makes us view the world a certain way.
Yes.
But if we keep studying it and we keep seeking, we have that intention, then we realize that we are able to mold and adjust ourselves to reach higher, I don't want to say higher that way, but levels of being that are more beneficial for ourselves and anywhere we go.
That's
what the Grand Rising is about.
That's amazing.
To reach your Grand Rising, every one of us. And that's dependent upon some knowledge.
Yes.
It's not within the Western knowledge base. And that's why it's obscure. Because it comes from the Eastern knowledge bases. And sadly to say, because the world is still caught up in what color things are, what shade things are, it's ignored because there's a certain thought form of that. If you lack color, that's superior, all right? And if you have color, that's inferior. And that erroneous and heinous.
Very erroneous. And
has created so much terror.
I want to interject what you just said, because the world is 90% people of color. And if you watch mainstream media, European media, they make people of color feel like you're inferior, you're the minority. We're not the minority of anything. We're the majority of the planet that the Creator made. And that all life began on the African continent. And the dark gene is a dominant gene. The light gene is a recessive gene. You can get the recessive gene from the dominant gene, but you cannot get the dominant gene from the recessive. That's Mendel. And Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of man. He studied Europe, but he didn't stay long. He found the origin of man traced back to Africa. And he's considered the father of paleontology. So this miseducation of where we come from and what's good or bad and what's dominant, what's not dominant. The universe itself tells us that dark is the most powerful color in the world. You can see all the stars in the universe at night. You can't see in the daytime. But I just want to get that in because I love your brilliance. And based on what you said, again, this is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry talking to Ali de Sousa. I said to you earlier about the 11th dimensions. And oftentimes, I think you said people normally focus on 3 or 4. Is that correct?
Yes.
How do we get to the 11th dimension?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of attuning that has to be done. One of the things, using esophageal sounds, which people can find, they're all over YouTube.
Yes.
It's real, it's vibration. You can attune your own DNA.
Wow.
People don't look at what DNA really is. DNA is a chip. It's a computer record of time on Earth from existence. You know?
Yes.
That's why heredity exists. But they don't talk about that way. They talk about the physicality. But we know emotion and all those different spirit is infused in the DNA.
Yes.
We know this, and there's talk of what they call epigenetics.
Yes.
This is why generationally some affliction that can be emotional or spiritual or some conditions, such as poverty, can stay within a people because that vibration is infused into the DNA.
Wow.
And that's where the real horrendous crime, the criminality of what was done colonially and taking over lands in the world, including this one, is. And the fact that that's ignored.
Yes.
But what I suggest the grand rising is for people who carry those vibrations, understand that, and they don't have to ask someone to relieve them of those chains, of that oppression or suppression.
Yes.
They can do the work because the technology exists and sound and everything, and available, that's the beauty of the internet, to actually reattune your DNA. That's
beautiful.
The first thing.
Yes.
So you have to. So the first dimension of the DNA, then your physical body as a whole, the balancing of that.
Yes.
Then your emotional body dimension. Then your spiritual body dimension. We've gone through 4, and we haven't even left ourselves yet.
Wow.
Or what is considered ourselves, because the true self is sitting up there in the 11th dimension, saying, "Can you find your way back?"
You know,
can you see yourself?
Yes, can you see yourself? I love talking to you again. This is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry, talking to Ali de Sousa about how we can get to that next level. And you mentioned 11 dimensions. In the grand rising, I really love that. Oftentimes you say good morning to someone, they say grand rising or rise and shine. But you are adamant in doing research about you. You're adamant that humanity's answers to challenges lies in restoring intuition to its greater capacities and not trying to act like it doesn't exist. And I believe you called it raising the super consciousness, or the spiritual vibration is the cornerstone of what you refer to as grand rising. How can we get that into the minds of young people of color, or black people, or even white people, of all people? And how can we...
Of all humanity.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're not colors. You see, these false constructs have to be eliminated.
Yes.
Right? But they're eliminated through the heart of the beings, not through legislation.
Yes.
So you can do those things to try to create some sense of balance. But we can see what's happening today. There are authoritarian chaos going worldwide to push everything backwards.
Wow.
Because these people, their vibrations and frequencies are going lower and lower, and they don't know what to do if they don't have that. So they're trying to create a world in which they can control and the substance in which they understand.
Yes.
Whereas the others of us have an opportunity, and the things that you can use what's called esophageal sounds.
Yes.
You can find them on YouTube. Do your research. Don't spend your time watching unreality TV. That's just so insane. It's called reality TV.
Yes.
First of all, if someone is in the industry, we know those shows are scripted. So they're not reality.
Right.
They're scripted shows. And people have been, they want to watch people who cheat, are willing to cheat, make alliances, break alliances to achieve what? A measly prize of some physical resource, money, a car, whatever they do on those shows. Right?
Yeah, yes.
So this is a design. The individual has to choose ultimately.
Yes.
They have to choose beyond the religion that they were indoctrinated into. Yep. They must choose beyond their family. They must choose beyond their country. They must choose for their true self. And what I taught my children, and I didn't say I always succeed, but I said, this is my effort.
Yes.
Is I have made my best effort as I became more aware of things to live and to be aware of my ripple upon the ocean of existence.
Yes, that's powerful. You know, and speaking of that too, this is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry talking to Ali de Sousa. So people can see the depth of your background. We just celebrated, I believe, 60 years of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the I Have a Dream speech. And when I look at you, you were forged really the 20th century American apartheid at its height in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And when you talk about the existence of humanity, again, people just think about sports all the time. And sports it's a pacifier for what's really going on in people. But they've learned how to perfect the human body. If you look at a runner that could run a 700-yard dash back in 1920, nowadays they have runners that are running sub 9 or sub 10 second 100 meters, like a 9.85 100-meter dash, because they've learned to increase the human capacity to get bigger, stronger, and faster. But what you've talked about that I'm going to try to do myself in the few minutes we have left, what can a person do to get to that higher state of consciousness? As you mentioned, athletes do it. Michael Jordan did it. Tom Brady did it. Muhammad Ali was probably the greatest. He told the whole world how to get there. He was chanting and chanting and chanting and chanting mixed with a high emotion, please.
So you gave one of those things, right? Chanting, having some people call it a prayer life, a mantra life, but something that works for you. You can discover that intuitively. But some basic things with people that I've worked with is two things: grounding.
Yes.
There was so much electrical energy in us because of the technology. It has to be grounded out. How do we ground it out? Simple. Barefoot on the grass, like we were children.
Wow.
Simple. Get barefoot on the grass 10 to 15 minutes a day. I have a young man I mentor now. When I first met him, I'm not going to give his name, but he was living in a van. He kept seeing me coffee shop and the coffee shop and the coffee shop. And one day he came over and spoke with me, and he said, "Sir, I don't want you to think this is strange, but I've noticed now, I first looked at you coming in, and you look very distinguished. You're noticeable. But after a while, I realized I feel when you're coming to this coffee shop. I feel it. And then sure enough, I look up, there you are."
Yes.
And then I realized everything in this atmosphere changes when you come in. I said, well, it's not me. It's the energy and frequency that vibrates through me.
Wow.
And so he said, well, he started telling me about his life. He said, I'd like you to, could you help me? And I looked at him, and I just said, you need to go sun gaze. To come back in 2 weeks. That was my response.
Yes.
Now I said, look, you're looking into how to sun gaze. It's very clear, but we need the sun. If you don't sun gaze, sunbathe.
Yes.
We need the sun, particularly the more melanin, the more you need.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to be in the sun. I want to get darker. See that stupid concept that permeates society.
Right.
That sun activates all that melanin, which is a special frequency and vibration.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so, and everybody has, even if you're paid, you have melanin. This is not about this phony concept of race.
Correct.
It is about humanity and what we have.
Yes.
So sunbathing, not tanning, but just feeling the warmth of the sun like you feel. It feels so good.
Yes.
You need that. We need that every day. So even if you live in a temperate zone in the winter, just get in the sun is closest to the earth. And anyways, if you're in those kind of areas, just stand in it 3-5 minutes, let it warm your body.
Right. Right.
That's only one aspect.
Yeah.
The other aspect is grounding, getting the negative ions out of your body. You just like you have a ground wire on something else. You have a ground wire for you to stand on Mother Earth.
Wow.
Excuse me. Stand on Mother Earth and ground out. So I combine them. I stand on Mother Earth and I sun gaze. That's kind of like a regular thing I've been doing. And after the point, your body just holds that. That holds the energy and vibration, that frequency. That's the beginning.
That's powerful. And you said
can also use.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Well, one more thing I want to remember: solfeggio, sound, esophageal waves can help tremendously because there are different frequencies. There's so much research that proves that.
Yes.
I know the common scientists that represent the other
Go right ahead, sir.
that represent the what I'm trying to say, that represent some of the industries and the industrial complexes. Well, they use humanity as food for their systems.
Okay.
I wrote a paper like that when I was back in high school and got in trouble. I said, we are merely food for these systems. And I wrote about certain systems. I got in big trouble for writing that when I was about 15 years old. I was in the API class, and they said, what? And, it was crazy. I said, well, it's true.
Yes.
Nothing's built for the human. It's supposed to be the humans to be food to create this system, and it's not correct. Instead of the system being working for the people. So, but now we have the internet. It's been amazing.
Yes.
And for all the problems people say, we have access to almost most of the human knowledge. So esophagy is found to be found all over YouTube and other platforms, and you can read which one. Your intuition will tell you what you need.
That's very powerful.
And then you start to intentionally plan your path to improve your vibration and frequency. And the other thing I must say is negativity between people reduces it. So I do my best effort not to have conflict with people and to walk away from conflict.
Walk away from
right?
it. Yes.
And a smile, just a smile alone is proven to release serotonin in the brain. And it's an endorphin, happy hormone.
Wow.
So I have a thing with my sister Karen, I do it together sometimes, but we have this thing that we have for life. That we go into a supermarket or market, we act up. We're going to make someone laugh. We're going to make someone smile.
Yes.
And as many people as we can. We talk to everyone as we go about whatever we're doing.
Yes. I tell you, that, to me, I really appreciate having you on. In our closing moments, I feel like I could talk to you forever. Because, again, this is the Charlton Curry Big C Sports Podcast talking to Ollie D'Souza. And when people see an athlete perform, they see them out in the public eye. You really can't hide whether you are a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James, a Steph Curry, or Tiger Woods at his peak, Serena Williams. They can't hide anything. Right now we have Sha'Carri Richardson, one of the just fastest, most dynamic athletes in track and field. And I look at what they do, and I want to touch on an older football player. He's a coach now. His name is Deion Sanders. And, of course, he's won Super Bowls with the Cowboys and the 49ers. And with Jackson State, he turned that program around. Now he's at Colorado, not given a lot of, I guess, favoritism by media, but they got a big win over TCU just over the weekend. But Deion Sanders talked about something that people call braggadocious. But at the same time, he's carried that to become successful as an NFL player, as a college football player. He also played in the World Series with the Atlanta Braves and a Hall of Fame football player. Now he's setting the world on fire as a coach. He's not bragging. He's doing what you're talking about, please.
Yeah, he's infusing everywhere he goes that energy and vibration that comes through him. Because he articulates it verbally, I think he's looking to inspire other people.
Yes.
And so maybe he could not use the words, some of the words that identify the self with it as him, but I think he knows what comes through him.
Yes.
And there's constantly people who are very successful. They may be have a more gregarious personality,
yes,
or they may have a more quiet personality.
Yes.
The personality doesn't take away from what the truth is, and that's the mistake. People want to focus on, or you're trained to focus on the person, you know, and what do you kill the messenger, you know?
Yeah.
If you can take down the messenger, then the message doesn't matter. That's the biggest, oldest trick in the book, right?
Yes, yes.
And to distract from what is real. I encourage people to pursue their own grand rising, to pursue their quantum true self, but it takes study, it takes research, it takes time and dedication and commitment and intention of, first of all, that this is what you want.
Yes.
You know, and if you want that, your own self will lead the way. Just you'll be listening to this broadcast and maybe something I said resonated.
Yes.
Something gives you a hint of where to go. That's how it began for me, unfortunately very young.
Yes.
And I've just been on that path. There were times where things are convoluted, but it's really crazy because right now whatever I ask for from the divine existence seems to appear for me within less than 8 hours.
Wow, I'm asking for $6 billion. I got to learn to vibrate higher. This is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry. I'm serious, too, talking to Ali de Sousa.
Hey, let me say, don't ask for $6 billion. Ask for the resource and the ability to create true wealth.
No, Ali, you don't understand. Brother Aleem was about to give me $6 billion. Listen.
Aleem had it. I see. I didn't know that. Aleem's been holding out on everybody.
Aleem told me something. I don't do it as funny as he does, but sometimes I'll go through a restaurant and I want to order something that's healthy, like some collard greens, right? And then I'll ask them, can they loan me $5 after I ordered $25 worth of food? And they look at me like I'm a little bit crazy, but he gets a laugh out of it. This is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry talking to Ali de Sousa. In the last minute, and again, I can talk to you for 5 hours and still not touch what you've learned and what you're educating people on. Where can people find you? What do you want to see yourself doing in the next 10 years from now? How can we find you? Please go right ahead, sir.
Sure. Well, my art website is SOUSAexperience.com. And that's a place to go. And on my art website, if you want to get a start, go to where it says Super Rare NFTs. And I've created some NFTs there where not only the visual, but I've done some scientific and technical technology and the sound and everything.
Really?
And if you've never meditated in your life, if you've never not really aware of intuition, if you just sit still, read the caption, and watch that particular NFT, they're like a minute, 90 seconds.
Yes.
You will understand about what it means to be quantum, to go into theta vibration and all those things. And I tested it. I tested it with people who had never done that in my studio. And I had them watch the three of them. There were three there. Watched them in the row.
Wow.
And they all reported profound experiences in my presence by just watching them. So you can't find me there, but you can find what comes through me by the grace of the divine on that website, SOUSAexperience.com.
Yes.
And I'm beginning to do a work with the Aztec woman in Mexico.
Yes.
And we're going to be, eventually, we hope to have a resort or place where people come in and they get completely dosed and uploaded in there. And that's all I'm going to say at that.
Well, Ali de Sousa, this is Charlton Curry, Big C Sports Podcast. Because sometimes faith comes by hearing, and when I listen more, I learn more. So I say we had a minute, but I want to extend your time because I want to ask you something that can really change, I think, the diaspora of a lot of people. And when you look at, right now, reparations is big in the United States. We talked about the I Have a Dream speech, Dr. King. He mentioned that we come to get our check. He talked about the Emancipation Proclamation and reparations, but people made it about I Have a Dream. He really said we come to get our check, but that was only in the first 4 minutes of the interview. The other 20 minutes was about I Have a Dream and overcoming inequality. When it comes to this push for reparations for descendants of child slavery, like our Jewish brethren are receiving reparations as we speak, what can people do? Whether we get reparations now or whether we get it tomorrow or next week, what can people do, in your opinion, with that ability to vibrate and create to create what you need now, not waiting for somebody else to get it, if that makes sense to you?
Oh, boy, I'm so glad you said that. I was asked about that and asked to serve in a committee doing that, and I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, I'm making my own reparations.
Yes.
I said, I don't believe that people and systems that have spent hundreds of years to totally oppress a group of people and suppress them in every way, and still do so to the point of just taking their lives. To ask those people to do something for you is not really intelligent. What is intelligent, though, is to use your super gift, your spiritual gift, that can move the hearts of humans.
Yes.
Even those who feel like that, those who say, I hate this and I hate that and I hate this, you can change their heart because of how you're attuned, how you vibrate, how you are connected to the source, no matter what spiritual practices you follow, if you really are on the truth, intending the best for yourself and humanity. And I will give you a quick story. I just came from the Rancho Solana golf course, where amazing young man named Samba Niang, a golfer.
Yes.
He's the best golfer in West Africa. He's competing in a tournament. I just met with him, photographed him, got to chat with him and everything, and did a little video with him. And we talked about this type of thing.
Yes.
That's a reparation that this man, who his people were stolen, kidnapped from the land that he walked on, and he's now here. And probably the first person from that land who will make the PGA.
Wow.
And we're working with him along with your friend Aleem Shabazz, as Aleem introduced me.
Yes.
So kind of say Aleem is amazing.
Yes.
And yeah, we had a great talk, and he's gonna, I believe he's going to do one form of tournament. But that's a reparation right there. Reparation is not just money. But again, to the fact that when that happened, we were standing there, so two men were coming down the golf cart. You would probably identify them as Caucasian.
Yes.
They stopped. They wanted to know who we were. I'm sure initially it was because you have two I'm a very dark-skinned person, and so is it Young, and Aleem's kind of in the middle there, but there were three men who were not expected to be on that golf course, especially looking how we looked.
Wow.
Now, if we acted in the vibration of racism and the negative vibration in this country, we would have had no exchange. And the same for them. They stopped and said, who are you? We think what these white guys want. They're looking at us because they're black.
Right.
No.
Right.
We had the most beautiful, cordial conversation. It ended up with a photo op. It ended up with me getting their email addresses, all this exchange and fire. It was such a beautiful experience. And they say, oh, wow, this is great. He's got new fans. They get to have a photo op. They're getting autographed pictures.
Yeah.
This great human experience occurred because of the vibration that we carry and that those men carried as well. They started from curiosity. It didn't matter if it was a complexion, attractive, what it is.
Right.
What it is they wanted to have an exchange. And we had this most amazing exchange. That's what I'm coming back to. I was rushing to get back home or somewhere where I could do this call with you where I wasn't in the car and it'd be terrible sound.
No worries.
So that's what it's really about. And that's a reparation right there.
See,
there's a lot to repair. There's a lot to repair.
A lot to repair. And I appreciate you very much talking to Ali de Souza. This is Charlton Curry of Big C Sports Podcast. Before I let you go, I want to throw out a compliment to brother Aleem Shabazz. He filmed, and the whole world doesn't know this. Only a handful of people know it. I don't think he minds me telling it. He filmed the last meeting for California Reparations Task Force. It was at the Secretary of State building. I didn't even know how good the video was until I saw it. Because Brother Aleem with Crescent Sport Media, we had NBC there, CBS was there, Fox News was there. It was even on CNN. But when I watched the television feed on a CNN or an ABC or CBS or Fox or NBC, you get this front view kind of like 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock. But what Brother Aleem Shabazz did, and he's so brilliant, he not only filmed the speakers, like the Camila Moore, the chair of the task force, he panned the audience, and he panned the other media companies as they were filming the speakers. Not only that, he had zoomed in on a big wall, maybe about 3 stories high. It talked about equality, liberty, and justice for all at the Secretary of State building. His work was better than what I saw on CNN. And no one has seen it outside of the few people that he's shown it to. And because of him, I'm here talking to you, and I want to give both of you some praise. This is Charlton Curry of Big C Sports Podcast, speaking with the great, inimitable Ali de Souza on Big C Sports Podcast. We'll take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout, and we'll be back in just a moment. So thank you very much. I wish you a super fantastic day.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm humbled and honored. I appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless you. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back to the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 28 podcast applications all across the universe. Streaming live on Twitter, TV platforms as well. Just had the pleasure of speaking with Ali de Souza, Esquire, just a brilliant man, and talked about vibration. Oftentimes people may call it prayer. Athletes use it all the time. You'll watch as the NFL kicks off Thursday night with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. You'll also see it over the weekend when the 49ers play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you'll see it in NBA games. You'll see it in Major League Baseball games. You see it in track and field. You really see it in boxing, in MMA. It's not bragging. It's about getting the vibration. I've noticed in my own life, in my prayer life, things that I do and I talk about, I'm trying to mix more vibration and more passion into it. And oftentimes when I figure out things that I've done without thinking about it, I think back to that moment of creation where it's like the universe is expanding But the universe expands with passion. It's almost like something I'm going to do. I hope people don't laugh. One of my favorite entertainers in the history of the world is Teddy Pendergrass when he sang, "Turn off the lights and light a candle. You see, I'm in a romantic mood, yeah." He said, "Turn off the lights and come to me. You see, there's something I want to do to you, baby." The emotion. Wait a minute, we want the real Teddy. You can't have the real Teddy. But the emotion that he's saying when he's saying, "Turn off the lights," and if you didn't listen, he said, "Turn them off!" He mixed it with a lot of emotion. It's the way people train dogs. You can't train a dog by saying, "Sit, Fido. Fido, sit. Fido, sit." You gotta say, "Fido, sit!" And the human body reacts to that. And I'm not saying go around yelling at people, but even law enforcement officers, they learn to raise their octaves. They raise their voice when they really want to get your attention. A parent can raise a parent's voice when they want to get the child's attention. A child can raise a parent's voice when they want to get the parent's attention. When you love somebody and you're trying to do what Teddy Pendergrass said, maybe being life into the world, you might get a little bit loud if that makes sense to you. But it's about passion. Passion makes things happen. And I want to just give that some praise. I really want to increase my intuitive elevation. I want to elevate more. I want to meditate more. People call it prayer. But that 11th dimension is there. Oftentimes I've heard of people saying that individuals have actually picked up a car when they vibrate high enough. I've seen people go into the gym and bench press. I remember the most that I've ever bench pressed when I was in college was 405 pounds. I couldn't do it just by walking into the gym and putting 4 45-pound weights on each side. I couldn't do it until I mixed a lot of emotion and a lot of intuition, and already seen myself do it before I even pushed the bar. And it's the same thing that's happened in athletes. You'll see athletes go to the line of scrimmage and they will get in their set formation and then they explode into each other and they make the play happen. Or on a fast break in basketball, people turn up their passion. When you see back in the day when I saw Carl Lewis won the 100-meter dash at the 84 Olympics in Los Angeles at the Coliseum, he had a lot of passion. When I saw Sha'Carri Richardson just break a record also at a track meet, a lot of passion mixed in it. Ali, "I am the greatest! I am the greatest!" There's a lot of passion. When Drew Bavini Brown talked about, when all you got to use, how can you lose? To see that. And I want to learn that. And I was telling also Ali de Souza that I do want to ask for $6 billion. I want to ask for that because I want it. And I believe it's going to happen. It feels like it already has. And I know there are a lot of things. Oh, then you go get Curry talking about things that don't exist. Well, the Big C Sports Podcast, I was doing it before I even had a show. I used to always talk to myself, and my son would say, Dad, who you talking to? Dad, who you talking to now? And I was just practicing my sports show. I started doing a sports show when I was 14 years old, leaving a high school football game and just listening to broadcasters. And I started emulating what they're doing. Now I have 28 podcast platforms. Give that some praise. What if I listen to the people that say, "Oh man, you never gonna make it"? Don't talk to negative people. In fact, you gotta cut them out of your life. You gotta find your tribe. I'm not saying you gotta do anything, but I'm saying in my own life, by finding my tribe, I'm now part of the National Black Wall Street Project. I work with some of the top real estate lenders in the United States of America doing loans nationwide. I met some of the most phenomenal people with the 9 Series DNA through chanting and praying, just hearing the sound of someone's voice. I met one of the most brilliant people that I've ever met. She's amazing. She can do anything. And that's just by the sound and having people pray over me and seeing things come true. Don't wait until you see things before you believe in them. Even the book of James chapter 4 verse 2 said, "Ye have not because you ask not." And the problem that I've had in the past is wondering, what are those people going to think of me if it doesn't come true? Well, you eliminate those people by not telling people. You just do it yourself. And I just want to be grateful. I've only spoken to Ali de Souza once in my life. I met him through Aleem Shabazz, brother Aleem Shabazz. And today I just asked him to be on the show because he's brilliant. And I know everybody has it. He was out watching one of the greater golfers that come from Africa, Samba Naim, and people will hear about him becoming a household name soon. But I just want to say, I want to give them praise. Sometimes there's not enough time in the day, but you take the time and you make the most of it. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to also praise my beautiful family for all the things that they've done to me in helping Big C Sports get off the ground, from my great-grandmother, Mamo, my great-grandfather called him Pop, to my grandmother called him Mud Deer, my beautiful grandfather called him Hezekiah, and I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, always saying rise and shine. And I'm telling you, then on my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, he was a pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, but the third one in Central California. My grandmother, Alberta Curry, she touched me on my forehead when I was 8 years old in the hallway. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now I'm on 28 podcast applications. That's more than anybody in the United States. You can Google it. Now I just need more money than any podcaster in the United States. You can Google that too. I think it's Joe Rogan, makes $10 million a year. At the same time, I really want to thank my father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. My beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Really do appreciate Todd. I love my daughter Daisy. Set up the first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media. We went on from there to become the first time in the history of the United States for NFL Monday Night Football to broadcast live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before until Big C Sports and the crew showed up. My daughter graduated 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. She also scored 6 goals in a soccer game. Left-footed. It was Daisy for the kick. Daisy for the goal. 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 I love giving her praise. She oftentimes will help me set up when college coaches would come to the West Coast. Isaiah 54:17. Never let anyone bother you. No weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body. So my beautiful mother, Malcolm, I'm telling you, my beautiful son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. Thank you for the happy birthday, Malcolm. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you will prosper. You can be anything you want to be. In fact, just what Ali, the SOUSA, was talking about, one day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. That's before it was even on the air. Within a short period of time, I got a call saying, Charlton, we're going to stream you on TV. 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You got to give that praise. And then Big C, with all his wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. I love saying, let's get ready to rumble. ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no three-way teleprompter, no producer in my ear. I do the best I can with what God has given me. And if God's given me that $6 billion, I'm going to even buy a better platform. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But please don't get behind the wheel of a car and drive, because the life you save may be your own or somebody you love. Don't do it. Just don't do it. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because all these Big C burgers, they make me light on my feet. That's why I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. My beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911. Believe me, things change when the police show up. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage on their own. So as I always tell you, back my popular demand, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. You know what's coming next. I'm going to honor President Abraham Lincoln when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. Say it 2 more times like your team just won the game. He said, reparations now, reparations forever. Say it 1 more time as if I just got $6 billion. Say reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. I hope that you have a super fantastic day.